Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 PSP review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at God of War Chains of Olympus, which if you've never played it before, it's a prequel to the first God of War. I personally think it plays better than the first God of War because it's very much like God of War 2 in combat and stuff like that. But anyway, at the start you've got new game, load game, options and treasures. Options are basics and literally are the basics, very bare minimum stuff. And treasures, I'll show some of them later on because they're just unlockables and they're pretty good. So, if you've never played God of War before, the whole point is you are Kratos and you're basically Ares is their minion. He saves you and brings you back to life and that, and then you go on a rampage and kick a little ass and just things like that really. It's fantastic premise, it's really good story, and it's just the type of thing that I think you'll really enjoy if you play it and get into it. Which now's a good time to get into it because God of War 3 is on the horizon and it looks fantastic. Combat in the game plays really well. It doesn't play as good as things like Sigma because Ninja Gaiden Sigma just quite frankly has far too many combos and weapons and that for anything I think to be able to compete with it. But this still does a really good job and it's got some really good magic spells and that, of which you've already seen us use one there quite a bit, the F-Freet, which basically sets things on fire and kicks the crap out of things. You've then also got these things where you basically push circle and the like combo finishes and that, but I don't think I'm going to manage to do one right now because I'm too busy getting me butt kicked from not being able to concentrate. So back to the magic for now. But yeah, so the combat works really well and plays just like you'd expect it to do really, and add in the odd massive boss fight and that, you've got yourself some really good gameplay there. Especially because you've then got the non-combat sections of the game, which are pretty much like puzzler elements really. They're very platformerish. You've got to climb things, you've got to run, jump and stuff like that. You've got to figure out how to open stuff, how to just do this, that and the other. It's got some really good stuff to it. Like this here is kind of like a puzzle. You've got a section where you've got to get past a chasm and you don't know how to do it. So you look around, you fight some enemies, and then you've got to pull these levers and that to basically raise some chains to build yourself a bridge so you can get across. So anyway, I'm going to cut into a slightly better section to show off where I can hopefully show off one of them circle things. Right, so this is basically one of those circle things. You push circle and then you've got to do the actions that come up, and depending on how well you do, you get rewards or you get the crap kicked out of you. If you manage to do it, then you'll get a reward like extra orbs or some magic or some health or stuff, but if you don't do it, then you're going to lose quite a bit of energy. So anyway, that's the circle things, and it works on the boss fights as well. It's pretty much how you finish off the main bosses and that. And it's one of the things, speaking of the bosses, that I want to actually quickly mention, because a lot of people, at least when it came out, were slacking the game off, saying, well, there's only a couple of boss fights. I mean, the others had more. The others didn't have more. If you've actually played God of War 1, God of War Chains of Olympus has pretty much the same amount of actual boss fights, at least the things that I'd class as boss fights. So it is pretty much the same gameplay, only difference is this is shorter. For example, this took us about 5 hours to beat, God of War 1 took us about 10 hours to beat first time. So yeah, half the length, but still plays really well, and for the price that you can get it at nowadays, then it's definitely the type of thing that I don't think anyone would complain saying, well, I wish there was more. Granted, you'll wish there was more because it was a fantastic game, but I doubt you're going to go, well, if there were more, then it would be a better game, and otherwise I just don't like it like this, you know? So anyway, on to some hopefully brighter sections and a better fight. So anyway, this is some boss footage. Basically, the only file I had with a boss on was the end boss, but I'm not going to show you much of it because obviously I don't want to spoil it or anything. I've just put this on to show off this Zeus's Gauntlet, which can do some fantastic power attacks and that. I'll also show off one of the better spells and that. You can basically fire a load of souls almost type thing at them and kill them, and you can at one point fire loads of electric balls at them like that. So there's some good spells and good attacks that you can do, and just fantastic gameplay. So anyway, onto the treasures. So this is one of the treasures. You mightn't be able to see very well, but basically I'm dressed as a giant potato. It's called the Spud of War, with the skill of magic. So you can unlock costumes that do different things. You can also start new games again with all your powers and everything there, and you can start on harder difficulties and that. But the treasures for the most part are just videos and unlocking the videos that you've done, unlocking new images. There's, as I say, a few of these costumes. There's a couple of challenges of which it's things like kill all enemies by setting them on fire. If you kill an enemy without setting them on fire, then you fail. So just stuff like that, same as what the first God of War game had. I almost said last, and technically it is last, like the 1 and 2, but prequel, it just makes things weird. So that's pretty much everything there is to say about the game. I'm going to end with a little bit of well, a little bit of the motion video, because I didn't get to do much of the music, so instead I'll just end on some of the motion video so you can see a little bit what the voice acting and story's like. I personally think it's fantastic, and it's just one of those, if you've never played the game before, I think you really need to check it out, see what all the fuss is about.
Suffering for years, Kratos, the once great general, now known as the ghost of Sparta, had pledged himself as a champion to the gods of Olympus. In return, he hoped only to rid himself of the nightmares that haunted him for far too long. But for now, his only respite, his only relief from the sins of his past, was found in the heat of battle. And on this day, Kratos had been called upon by the gods to confront an unthinkable evil, unleashed on the city of Attica by the invading Persian army.
So yeah, that's just basically a bit of the story. Only things I've realised I haven't mentioned is that you can upgrade yourself by getting red orbs to upgrade your weapons, and that you can get eyes and feathers to upgrade your health bar and magic bar. So there we go then. That's been the review. I hope you've enjoyed it, or at least found it helpful. You might have noticed I didn't score the game. Well, that's because it's a matter of personal opinion, and yours may very well differ from my own. I'm just here to show you a bit about the game. If you like it or not, well, that's up to you. If you don't like it, or you do like it, feel free to comment. Also, if I haven't answered any of your questions that you may have had, I might have forgot something, or it might just be something obscure. Again, feel free to comment, ask, always willing to help out. Otherwise, if you don't like commenting on YouTube, head over to www.vc-forums.com, where you can chat with me and a bunch of other lads who love the VC, the WiiWare, and hell, even a lot of other systems. We cater to pretty much everything. You can just go there, have a chat about a game, ask about some games, etc. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.